Even if we are not fully aware that we're doing it, many of us have an automatic tendency to compare ourselves to others in a way that tends to be unfavorable towards ourselves. There are numerous reasons why we may do this, but it usually only serves to erode away our self-esteem. Generally speaking, making comparisons between yourself and other people is rooted in a mentality of competition, which we have all been so heavily conditioned into believing is the reality of the world that we live in, which isn't necessarily true. However, we don't have to continue to choose to define ourselves only in terms of how we measure up to others. If this sounds like you, then I want to talk about some helpful tips and perspectives that you can start putting into practice today, which will help you break the habit of always comparing yourself to other people. For starters, it is a really good idea to become aware of what your triggers are. For example, when and where do you find that you most often begin making comparisons, triggering feelings such as unworthiness or inferiority? For many today, social media is a prime example. Quite unlike any other time in history before, we can now readily see other people's seemingly perfect and wonderful lives from what they show us online, making us feel like we have accomplished relatively little by contrast or are somehow falling behind. But those same feelings may also be triggered when you go out into public, maybe to social events and gatherings where lots of diverse kinds of people tend to mix. Now, it goes without saying that none of us will ever be able to entirely avoid encountering people who appear to be better than us in some way, because that's just not realistic. But the point here is just to be more aware of when this is happening so that we have more control over the amount that we expose ourselves to these triggers until we feel more secure in who we are. In the case of social media, for example, the simplest thing to do would be to spend less time aimlessly scrolling through the various feeds, which may be showing you lots of people that you feel inferior to in some way. Now, the topic of breaking a social media addiction is beyond the scope of what I'm talking about today, but it is seriously worth considering if you are trying to limit your exposure to situations that make you automatically start comparing yourself to other people. The thing that I most want to emphasize here is that each of us have our own unique path to walk through life, and you may not actually want to live somebody else's life even if you were able to. Someone that appears wealthy and successful may be under a ton of pressure at work and has to work extremely long hours just to keep it all going. Someone that appears healthy and fit may be battling with physical and psychological challenges that you don't even know about. The point is that we will never know what it's actually like to be someone else, no matter how amazing and incredible their life looks from the outside. I truly believe that when each of us discovers the core of who we are and start living in a way that feels very true and authentic for us, there is no greater joy and fulfillment that we could have in life. At that point, we wouldn't want to trade our lives for somebody else's for anything in the world. If you can keep that in mind as your highest ideal, then you are on the right track to quitting the harmful habit of comparing yourself to others. And if you really think about it, it may well be that you only actually want to achieve what others have achieved simply because you just want to prove that you are capable and worthy. You may be looking for validation coming from the outside that tells you that you are special and great, thinking that that is what it's going to take to make you finally start to feel good about yourself. Although external validation can be nice to receive, it should never have to come at the cost of your mental health and overall sanity. By that, I mean doing things that you really don't love doing and living a life that doesn't feel true for you in order to impress other people and receive their praise. Remember that the key is to shift your focus towards unleashing your own inner potential and living in a way that feels very aligned for you. When you live by your own ideals and celebrate all the small wins and steps that you make towards them, you are reinforcing your self-esteem in a very powerful and healthy way. You are a highly unique individual in the world, and you will find that you have a unique set of likes, interests, inclinations, and natural talents if you really take some time to reflect upon it. These all speak to who you really are on a deeper level, and you would do well to cultivate, reinforce, and celebrate those attributes and preferences in order to allow them to continue to expand and grow. And as you think about some of those very things that make you, you can permit yourself to feel some genuine gratitude for the person that you are. As you start to embrace all those things, you realize that they are the keys which can unlock the fullness of your truest self, even allowing for others to begin to recognize you for all that you are. As an example, I'm a very musically inclined person. I have an abundance of natural enthusiasm and energy, and I tend to be very empathic and patient when interacting with other people. Although those are all innate qualities that come naturally to me, I have still had to work for many years to express them more fully, but they all make me feel good about myself and the person that I have become. Now, here are a few other things to consider to help you break with the habit of constantly comparing yourself to others. Never forget that you can always consciously change the way that you choose to think about things. For example, you can observe somebody who has something that you want and actually consider how they might actually be providing you with the motivation to pursue it too. If you really think about it, seeing somebody else who has attained certain aspects of the life that you really want to live is proof that it can be done. If you are in the habit of thinking that there is something wrong with you that makes you fundamentally incapable of achieving it too, it helps to recognize that you are just playing out a habitual destructive thought pattern. It may stem from an underlying negative belief about yourself, but there are many effective methods that are known about which can help you to uproot those kinds of beliefs and replace them with more life-affirming and positive ones that can help us to become fully actualized. Stay tuned until the end of this video to learn more about how I can help you in that regard. On a final note, it is a good idea to have a healthy amount of compassion for yourself, and imagine that you are speaking to yourself much like you would speak to a good friend or to a child. Would you honestly tell a good friend that you believe that they are hopeless and will never achieve what somebody else has attained? Because if you do, they probably won't want to stay friends with you for very long. Remember that you are just as worthy and capable as anyone else, and you shouldn't automatically default to assuming that there is some fatal flaw in your makeup that prevents you from being all that you can be if you really apply yourself. So that's where I'm going to wrap this one up, but I truly hope that this has been helpful to you. Somewhere deep inside, I know that you know just how worthy and capable you really are. You are here to discover the joy and contentment that comes from being exactly who and what you really are, and doing all the kinds of things that actually fulfill and excite you. When you are truly enjoying your life and filled with gratitude for the opportunities that each day holds, you will ultimately find that you have no need to compare yourself to others and wish that you had the life that they have. So please be sure to hit the like on this video if you have found this helpful, and leave me a comment with your thoughts. And if you are truly ready to reprogram your mind for massive success and end the cycles of doubt and self-sabotage that keep you from moving forward in life, click the link in the description of this video to learn more about how I can help you. Thanks for watching. Until the next one, stay strong and stay inspired.